From that musical note, we do some sports. Hello and welcome to the Sports on Pulse. I am Gary Al Smith, and after we have seen the draw for the African Cup of Nations, we know that the Festival of Football that will take place from the 14th of January to the 5th of February will be of players largely who would have done well in the lead up to that tournament. In the lead up to that tournament, 2016, and how the players would have featured in this calendar year would have played a key part. Don't forget that just before the African Cup of Nations begins in Libreville in Gabon, a week or so before, there will be the naming of the African Footballer of the Year. The awards and the nominees for that one have been named just about a week or two ago. There was no Ghanaian in that list, and guess how many players were shortlisted for it? 30 players from around Africa were put out there, and apart from Ayew, there was no other Ghanaian that was named. We want to find out, why is it that of the regular Black Star squads that are named, the regular under 17, under 20, under 23 squads that we name, of all the about, what they say, 5,000 registered Ghanaian footballers out there playing, none could have been shortlisted apart from one, Ayew. In studio with me is Ridwan Ibrahim Asante from the Joy Sports Desk. Thank you, Ridwan.
Thank you, Gary.
Right, so simple question. Andre, the only player from the many Black Stars squads we name this year. This year we've had about 7 Black Stars games. Why is he the only one?
1, consistency. 2, influence. 3, pedigree. And then the 4th one will be, image issues.
So 1, let's take them one by one.
Yeah,
consistency.
So consistency, because there was no Nations Cup, for 2016, I think the selection process dealt basically with club football. And Andre was a star on his debut season, for Swansea.
Yeah.
He was the club's top scorer. For me, I felt he deserved to be the club's even player of the season. But then after they voted, he missed out on that award, and he only picked up that best player, that's the goal king for that campaign. Yeah. And he was so, and I was talking about influence also.
The second
presence,
factor.
yes, his presence was felt in the Swansea team. Anytime he played, he brought in that sort of oof up front, and that at a point in time, Gruden even experimented him, as a typical number 9. And we know Andre, either he's a number 10 or playing from the wings, either on the left or the right. So he had influence in the Swansea setup. Third also will have to be with his pedigree. Big time player. He's senator. He came in on a free transfer. And after his performances, sometimes football take on, a bit of a mythic quality, like one man against masked opponents, like Zidane against the rest, Argentina. They've had it, in years to come with players coming in, and then Messi is the last. Also Ronaldinho, having the same feel like that. Cristiano Ronaldo taking on men. So Andre was the man leading, for Swansea against the other Premier League side, and he started well. He never struggled. He showed character and resilience in the Swansea setup. And I think if you look across of the 30 players picked, everybody might have had, one, either multiple of these qualities. And I think that was lacking in other players. Asamajan, who's supposed to be our flag bearer, who used to be consistent in the list ever since, he shot to fame at the 2010 World Cup, was always, there in the CAF list, but he's also out. Kojo Asamoah would have been influential because he would have played more games. He would have met 2 or 3 of my criteria, and so he would have been in the list. But then he also missed out because of injuries. Aside that, Udinese themselves were not doing well, so Ajman Bidu, with his influence, will not be consistent. If you watch, Eric Bailly is shortlisted because he's influential. We shouldn't forget that TP Mazembe had, I think, 4 players from their setup in the squad. Yeah. Likewise, I think 5 players came in from Sundowns in the same 30-man squad. 5 players came in from Sundowns. So these are players playing on the continent, but managed to find their name on the 30-man list, aside the Africa, the best player on the continent list. So that was it. We just didn't have the men, in Europe and also on the continent to to make the cut.
Ridwan, you've done the justice to that question in just about 5 minutes, and that's it really. So Andre Ayew, hopefully his performances will translate to some of the other players in the national team. In the coming week, we'll expand this discussion to why in the African Cup of Nations we are having fears that Ghana may not do well. Just for this reason, out of 30 players on the continent, Ghana had only one. Thank you, Ridwan, for joining us. So that's the sport for now. Quick and crisp. You can get more on myjoyonline.com sports page, and also the sports page of myjoyonline.com, and at Joy Sports GH on Twitter and Joy Sports on Facebook. I'm Gary Al Smith, and that's the sport for now.